Hello and welcome. Welcome to Voice Notes, my live journal where I speak on topics related to a resolute mind. Join me today as I speak on the topic greener pastures syndrome. Yes, greener pastures syndrome. Now, it was at this point that I was actually thinking about stopping, ironically enough. I wrote various scripts from various angles, only to finally begin questioning myself. I am like, what is the point? Why am I doing this? It is quite easy to psych yourself out of something that you originally intended to do, especially when it leaves you quite vulnerable to talk openly about something. Quite frankly, I am no stranger to this topic, falling victim quite readily. And now I have identified my point specifically. I'm usually afraid to speak up when I lose my point of speaking. This is my breaking point. This is the point when I tell myself, better I turn back and keep my peace. For the pasture is much greener on this side, if only I keep silent for yet another occasion. This is my teaching point. So I continue speaking, even if I think it not a point to speak in the first place. Even if it takes me just 3 minutes to say something, let me still go ahead and make a few further utterances. I take this time right now, I take this point in time to push through this speaking point of inertia. It scares me a lot when I think about it to actually voice my inner thoughts, especially on this matter. So, that is why I'm going to continue, regardless of how I feel. But first, let me collect my thoughts. What is it about this topic that scares me? I think it goes back to decision making and the pressures that come with making big decisions. Now, depending on what age one knows me, my decisions may move from something that may look quite conservative to something way radical. There is no telling what I'm going to do sometimes. And here is where I express doubt. My view on life is exploratory for the most part, though outwardly I appear much conservatively. It can be readily confusing, and can confuse anyone really. I love experiencing, but experiencing comes with risk, a great deal of it. I don't care for the physical or tangible type of experiences, but more for thought experiences. So most times, my decisions aren't predictable from very human experiences. I am the curious kind and I love learning. So sometimes learning carries one to places most may not readily choose to go in the first place. My source of conflict can come from what others may think on what I do or don't do. I can receive a download of another's opinions or thoughts, like, maybe this is not such a good idea, or you will one day regret this, or even you're gonna fail, and then what is your backup plan? I can tell you, the most stressful experience is when you want to go one way and another is seeking your downfall, just waiting for those next flops, especially when you have no clue what you are going to meet on the other side. Another's fear becomes generated in one's heart. But if it is one thing that I learned out of any, it is this. 1. Nothing lasts forever. 2. Nothing is sure and true. 3. What is for you, you will surely get. Okay, that's 3 things, but say what? Out of the 3, I pick 1, and that is that nothing in this whole world is ever sure and true. Nothing. This one sticks with me the greatest, and it is in this one line I learn freedom. There is never, ever any guarantee that A leads to C, which eventually leads to B. And so I keep this line with me whenever doubtful thoughts begin to set in. Now, is there such a thing as greener pastures? I believe not for the moment, for walking each path teaches one some unique thing, or maybe that regardless of which path you take, some lessons are still commonly present to all paths, or perhaps even that regardless of which way to go, there is always something to be learned, there is always someone new to meet, there is always some new experience to endure. The point I am making is that there is always ... Life is full and not void, and this is my point. Whichever way you go, it still adds back to one. It does mean allowing for grace in one's life. It does mean allowing for changes. It does mean allowing the mind to become open and malleable. It does mean to appreciate the little mercies that come your way. It does mean allowing oneself to be molded and carved and shaped and formed as one moves along in his life journey. Sometimes moving actually means being still. In this case, there is no greener pasture, but there is more pasture to cut through, and I come to this realization. So in closing, I leave myself with two activities. First, I highlight my action plan for when life seems somewhat sour on a decision once made. And then I leave myself with lines by which to assert myself. This is my plan of action. 1. Stop the blame game. It doesn't matter what one says or doesn't say. I reflect on my decisions and trust myself for the directions that life is leading me. 2. I acknowledge and accept emotions, both positive and negative, when they set in. I sit with myself and work through my feelings, holding myself accountable to the things that I have already decided. 3. Be real and vulnerable with the self. It doesn't matter how much shame I go through to have the learning experience. Eventually, the shame will wear off, and so will your feelings. 4. Remind the self of certain things. Be glad in the previous achievements and steps that you took to even reach this point, and always remember what got you there in the first place, and remember to keep this as your guiding principle. Keep what carries you close to your heart. And 5. Accept changes when they come. Okay, so now I assert myself. I don't live life, I live and work with life itself. I make life my partner and friend. I need not have it all figured out. I trust life with my life and enjoy life's beauties and present circumstances. I believe that life has my interests at heart, for I am not my own. I rest on life itself. I let go of my past and my past failures. I'm excited about both my present and future selves. But I also embrace my past selves. I comfort them and allow them to grieve. There is no one way to go. I am directed by life's path. I witness life's many plot twists to my life. Life maps out for me my defining character. I am only one story to a much larger book of stories. I remain in awe of the words that are mapped out in my life story. I enjoy my silence, but I also enjoy my speech. I enjoy my expressions. I just enjoy being me. Okay, I end on this note, and I appreciate the air which you lend. Until I speak to you another time, adios.